Wow, this room looks a whole lot bigger now. Well, thank you all for coming. As Josephine mentioned, lunchtime is coming up soon, which is quite fitting considering we're here to talk about food. Not the kind of food you'll be eating today, but the kind of food you'll be eating in, say, 10 years from now. I want you to imagine a scenario of which many of you can probably relate to. It's a busy work day and you're working late again. You need to figure out dinner, but there's no time to prepare a nutritious meal. But what if you had an appliance that could make any meal you wanted and have it ready for you when you got home, all from the click of a button? Impossible idea, right? Wrong. With 3D food printing, anything is possible. My name is Jason, and I have had the wonderful opportunity to work with 4 lovely ladies on a project titled 3D Food Printing, Knowledge and Attitudes of Millennials in the GTA. I'll be giving a brief introduction to our research study, followed by Tracy, who will be going over our methodology section, Ankita and Juhi, who will be going over our results, and last but not least, Ange, who will be going over our conclusion. So, what is 3D food printing, as I'm sure you're all dying to know? Well, 3D food printing is conceptually similar to 3D printing in general. These devices or appliances add a third dimension to whatever it is they are creating. 3D food printers are unique in that these devices simply use food substrates to develop food into any shape, any texture, or any consistency imaginable. For example, some 3D food printers specialize in turning food into masterful and creative forms of art, edible forms, of course. Others focus on being able to use sustainable protein sources, such as algae and insects, and turning them into more edible forms of food, at least visually, and as long as you can get your mind around the fact that you might be eating a cockroach. And there are many, many more different types of 3D food printers, all with different benefits and uses. But there are also some potential problems and concerns with this technology, which leads us to our research objectives. In general, we sought to find out what the millennials in the GTA know about this technology. What are they most interested in? What are they most concerned about? And do they even want to buy one of these things? And so you might ask, well, who cares? Well, since this is an emerging technology, and since there are dozens of different models and concepts and prototypes, researchers, developers, and marketers want to know what people think about them, what they want from them, and what socially based obstacles may exist that could prevent this technology from being adopted into the consumer population. And so it was our intention with this research study to help bridge that gap between consumer insight and product development. Now I'll pass the torch over to Tracy, who will begin discussing our methodology.
Thank you, Jason. After refining our research question, we focused on who should be our target market. After a literature review, we decided to concentrate on adult males and females between the ages of 18 and 35 that were living in the Greater Toronto Area. Our 18 to 35-year-olds, or millennials, were sourced as being a large population in the Canadian workforce, much more likely to be an early user of a new technology. They embraced food innovation much more readily into their diet than others. They preferred convenience-based foods and would be willing to pay more for a healthier food item. We wanted to target millennials living in the Greater Toronto Area to allow for easy access for face-to-face qualitative research, as well as allow for additional intercept surveys without compromising our target sample. Within our survey screener, we used an online visual aid to standardize the definition of the Greater Toronto Area. Participants could link to this map within the screener for a clearer definition. In order to answer our research question, our research design employed a triangulated mixed methods approach. We wanted to understand millennial attitudes and behaviors towards this new food technology, as well as identify benefits or potential hurdles to their adoption. We used random sampling in the form of convenience and snowball techniques in order to obtain our sample population for all our research methods. We conducted an online survey for our quantitative portion to obtain results for swift turnaround, and the method fit well with our intended demographic, which are mobile and technology-heavy users. We administered the survey using QFI, and our total sample size for the survey was 330 completes. Our quantitative survey started by addressing age within the screener as well as location. The rest of the survey consisted of all closed-ended questions, including 2 matrices. We wanted to keep the survey to approximately 7 or 8 minutes in length to ensure higher completion rates. The survey was deployed via Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and email. The average survey completion rate turned out to be about 7.36 minutes. Intercept surveys. We also conducted some additional intercept surveys within our research design. These completes are included in our overall sample of the 330 respondents. A strict interview protocol was followed, and the intercepts were administered via an iPad following the same questionnaire flow as the online QFI survey. They were all conducted on-site at the Humber College Lakeshore campus. All quantitative data was analyzed using IBM SPSS version 23. We conducted frequencies, crosstabs, and chi-square analysis. Since this technology was quite new, we were interested in finding out more details to supplement our quantitative understanding by including a qualitative portion to our study. We conducted 2 focus groups which were moderated by team members at a home location in the West End of Toronto. The focus groups were both 45 minutes in length and had 6 to 7 participants in each. We followed a structured interview guide to help us understand the details about millennials and their knowledge and attitudes of 3D food printing. We set out to discover more about their meal preparation habits, if they'd ever interacted with 3D food printing technology before, and specifically, we wanted to know, had they heard of 3D food printing? Was this something that had interested them? If so, why or why not? And could they offer any suggestions on particular features that they were interested? And finally, at what price would they be comfortable? The data was analyzed using a combination of hyper-research and Excel for content analysis. Data was taken from the transcripts, linked or grounded into words and phrases from which our major themes emerged. Now I'll pass you on to Ankita, who will be presenting our findings.
Thank you, Tracy. So we wanted to know what millennials know about 3D printing in general. We wanted to gauge the level of knowledge millennials possess about 3D printing. Our results indicate that GTA millennials have a high level of knowledge, with 88% of respondents indicating that they have heard of 3D printing earlier. Of this group, only 3 out of 10 millennials have heard about 3D food printing. And the most common 3D products were prosthetics, sculptures, toys, which were among the first 3D printed products. So we realized that people were not aware of 3D food printing. Next, we wanted to know what millennials care about. So we provided them with a definition of 3D food printing, and we presented them the features. Asked them to rate these features, the importance of these features. These features came from our literature review, and the 3 most common features were minimizing food waste, minimizing food preparation time, and adding vitamins and minerals as desired. The participants from the focus group mentioned that they would like to control portions, less food wastage, cook food in less time for busy nights, and add things to improve the food. Rest, I'll pass it on to Juhi to discuss our rest of the results.
Thanks, Ankita. Next, respondents were asked what matters to them the most about 3D food printer. The 3 most important concerns that emerged from our data are taste of food, food quality, and cost. Results showed 9 out of 10 millennials considered taste of food as most important consideration for 3D food printer. They seemed to be worried that the printed food would not taste as good as the traditional cooked food. The second important concern was food safety, which was reported by around 89% of the millennials. In general, they were worried that the 3D printed parts used during printing may not be safe to use for food, or that the high heating during printing may release some chemicals, making the food unsafe to eat. They were also concerned that if the 3D food printer is not easy to clean and maintain, it can lead to growth of harmful bacteria and thus making the food unsafe. Thirdly, almost 85% of the millennials showed concern regarding the cost of the unit. Females were found to be more worried about cost than males. 91% of the females rated this as important compared to only 78% of males. Respondents were further asked about their intent to purchase a 3D food printer. Here, the population was found to be almost equally divided, with 49% showing interest in buying it. Out of 49%, higher proportion of males were found to be interested in buying a 3D food printer. 63% of males were likely to purchase a 3D food printer in comparison to only 40% of females. 8 out of 10 millennials considered cost as an important factor in their decision to purchase a 3D food printer. Respondents who showed interest in buying a 3D food printer were also asked about the maximum amount they would be willing to spend on it. Majority of the respondents were willing to spend between $100 to $500, while almost 23% said they could spend between $500 to $1,000. Respondents thought that if the price is below $100, it won't be good and will not serve the purpose. On the other hand, if the price is too high, they won't be able to afford it. The quotes we collected from our focus group conceptualizes this perfectly. Now I will pass it on to Ange to wrap it up.
Thank you, Juhi. So, to summarize a few of our main findings, based on our study sample, our results indicate that while a large proportion of GTA millennials are aware of 3D printing, only a small proportion of these respondents knew about 3D food, indicating a poor level of awareness regarding 3D food printing technology. In addition, while nearly half of respondents were interested in purchasing a 3D food printer, we found that male millennials are more likely to be interested in purchasing this technology. This is consistent with previous findings, which indicate that males are more likely to adopt novel technologies. We also found that millennials preferred the attributes of 3D food printing that are most in line with their generational values. Millennials are more environmentally friendly than previous generations. Convenience is an important part of their lifestyle, and they are health conscious. They desire a 3D food printer that tracks caloric intake, that adds vitamins and minerals to their food, and that minimizes food waste. The 3D printer should be user-friendly, low maintenance, and ideally print a wide variety of food products. And most importantly, taste is of utmost importance to millennials. Millennials want 3D food to be the same quality and taste as that of traditional food products. Food safety is also an important factor, as they are concerned about how food is processed and whether or not it is safe for consumption. So in conclusion, through this study, we have been able to gain a better understanding of millennials' knowledge and attitudes towards 3D food printing, which may aid in increasing the interest and adoption rates of this technology. Researchers and developers of 3D food printers should consider incorporating the features and attributes that millennials desire in a 3D food printer, which will be vital in encouraging the success of this technology by helping to develop a product that meets this generation's wants and needs. Also, as there are considerable concerns regarding 3D food printers and knowledge levels of this technology are low, it is imperative that effective communication regarding details of this technology, its potential benefits, as well as addressing areas of concern will be essential for successful product marketing. And so this concludes our presentation on 3D food printing. We would now like to open up the floor to any questions. Thank you very much.